Ladies and gentlemen, the pleb is back. In tonight's report, well, I made the entire left meltdown on X over the last couple of days after putting out a clear Photoshop of Pierre Poilievre. The left absolutely loses their mind. As well, tonight, Pierre Poilievre comes out and goes viral saying that biological men do not belong in women's sports or their washrooms, and of course, the left have an aneurysm. And in our last story, Justin Trudeau responds to Pierre, and it's absolutely cringeworthy. You won't want to miss tonight's story. Stick around. Tonight's episode has been brought to you by Beaver Bitcoin. Everyone knows I love Bitcoin, and let me tell you why. Justin Trudeau loves freezing people's bank accounts in Canada, and at any moment he could freeze mine. But I protected myself by owning Bitcoin. If you guys want some Bitcoin, head over to beaverbitcoin.com/pleb and sign up over there. And if you're not familiar with how to buy Bitcoin, head over to beaverbitcoin.com/advisor and set up a call with a Bitcoin specialist today. Thank you to Beaver Bitcoin for sponsoring today's report. Guys, as usual, double check if you're still subscribed. YouTube is unsubscribing you guys from my channel, as well as other big conservative channels like Benny Johnson and Tucker Carlson. So we need to fight back. So double check if you're still subscribed. And if you're not subscribed to this channel, smash that subscribe button, because I'm going to tell you the news the mainstream media won't. Welcome to your Thursday report. We got a lot to cover here today, especially the Justin Trudeau and Pierre Poilievre back and forth. But before we get into that, I just want to address this tweet that I put out the other day. Now, it's no secret that the pleb loves to troll the left, and I went to my meme guy the other day. I said, give me Pierre Poilievre looking like a Jack Chad, and he delivered me this. And I put out this tweet here, saying that this man is going to make Canada great again. And oh boy, did it ever cause a stir. Now, anyone with half a brain cell knows this is an obvious Photoshop. I mean, just look at the chin, look at the teeth, look at the tanned face. I mean, and also the enlarged muscles. It's an obvious Photoshop. But to the left, things are not always too obvious. Now, Butler Lonnie, who's one of Pierre Poilievre's biggest haters on X, responded this to me: OMFG, nice doctored photo, pleb. Well, no shit, Captain Obvious. And after that, the deranged fact checker tweets started rolling in, especially from Butler Lonnie, saying, conservatives seriously think Trudeau was elected because of his looks? Actually, I do. That's why Pierre Poilievre spent $3 million on a makeover and why his fans use AI to enhance images. Pierre is just not ready. And Butler Lonnie kept tweeting here, saying he's even doctoring photos now to profess his love. Notice the squared off jaw, the manly 4 o'clock shadow, and the bigger muscles. This guy was eating out of my hand. Now, this Butler Lonnie guy is triggered clearly by me using a clear Photoshop to enhance Pierre Poilievre's looks, and got himself absolutely ratioed and bodied by Stacey Monette. Now, the guy having a meltdown over Pierre Poilievre's enhanced images literally enhanced his own profile picture. As you can see here, the left here is his profile pic, and this is what he looks like in real life. Absolutely hilarious and brutally ratioed. Now, I don't know why these leftists love enhancing their images on social media. I mean, I did it as a joke, but these leftists are doing it for real. And another account who's been doing it is none other than Bruce Marshall. Look at his picture on the left. That's his profile picture. And the picture on the right, that's Bruce Marshall in real life. Now, what started as an obvious joke started spreading all over social media as people on the left were literally taking my Photoshop seriously. As you can see here, OFFS, Pierre Poilievre, we know that you're a small bone chubs on the right. The PM doesn't need Photoshop, but clearly your party thinks you do. Quite the own, Guy. Or this one, nothing to see here, just plain weird. They're eating out of my hand. Or this one. Pierre Poilievre is a very strange, awkward little man. Or how about this one? Why did someone Photoshop Pierre Poilievre to look like Mark Consuelos? Okay, that one was pretty funny. Now, the moral of the story is simple. The left can't meme. The left can't even comedy. You literally need to hold them by the hand and explain jokes. And you need to tell them when something is Photoshopped when it's clearly, obviously a Photoshop. These people are not very bright. And while we are on the topic here of Pierre Poilievre making the left melt down, we're going to transition here to our next story. Pierre Poilievre was at a press conference today and asked if he believes that biological men should go into women's washroom or play women's sports. And his answer absolutely sets off the left.
Mr. Poilievre, for the last few years, our news organization has been covering what can only be described as a war on women. Biological males are pretending to be females, and these men are invading female safe spaces. This includes female sports ranging from volleyball to rugby. As well, men pretending to be women are gaining access to female shelters and even female prisons. This has collectively led to real women and girls being emotionally abused, physically injured, and
what's going on here?
My question, sir, is should you form the next federal government, will you make female safe spaces safe again by introducing legislation that bans so-called transgender women from participating in female sports and getting access into female shelters and female prisons?
Female spaces should be exclusively for females.
Boom.
Not for biological males. You ask if I introduce legislation on that. A lot of the spaces you
guys, you notice how he referred to trans women as biological males. That's absolutely based.
Not for biological males.
Yes.
Let's go. You ask if I introduce legislation on that. A lot of the spaces you described are provincially and municipally controlled. So it is unclear what federal legislation would reach federal legislation would have to change them. But obviously, female sports, female change rooms, female bathrooms should be for females, not for biological males.
Boom. Can this guy be the prime minister already? I am craving some basic common sense, something we need in this country. Let's make Pierre the prime minister already. And later on in that day, Justin Trudeau was asked at his own press conference about Pierre Poilievre's biological male comments, and of course his answer was absolutely absurd. Roll it.
Pierre Poilievre specifically said that children born biologically male should be banned from female washrooms, changing rooms, sports. Do you think your government has done enough to protect trans rights?
I think Mr. Poilievre and politicians like him are choosing to attack some of the most vulnerable people in our society as a way of deflecting from the fact that they're very good at creating division and anger. And
division and anger. The guy who literally said you can't get on a train or a plane if you're not vaccinated. That kind of division?
Creating political toxicity and driving wedge issues. But so far, they have been terrible at putting forward any concrete solutions for the big problems that all Canadians are facing in their daily lives.
The big problem that Canadians are facing in their daily lives is you, Justin Trudeau. And Pierre has a solution. It's to get you out of office.
They're quick with slogans and buzzwords and culture wars.
Culture wars. Okay. The same guy who turned Pride Week into Pride Month into an entire Pride season. The same guy who literally puts tampons in men's washrooms. Okay, Mr. Culture War.
But they're not doing the work of actually rolling up their sleeves and delivering. 330 housing units here delivered next year, this summer, including over 60% of them deeply
Listen.
delivered next year, this summer, including over 60% of them deeply affordable.
This guy is cooked, man. He's finished. Now let's take things back to the Pierre Poilievre conference, where he absolutely demolishes Trudeau over his online hate speech bill and reminds the world that the first half of his life was spent being a practicing racist. What?
Morning, Mr. Poilievre. Andrew Lawton, True North. The federal government has said that its online harms bill is imminent. They've said this bill will include, among other things, a ban on so-called online hate speech. As you know, the Conservatives a decade ago repealed Section 13 of the Canadian Human Rights Act, which the Liberals have talked about reintroducing and tried in the last parliamentary term. Will the Conservatives oppose the reintroduction of these provisions and the Liberals' approach to so-called online hate speech?
Yes, we will oppose Justin Trudeau's latest attack on freedom of expression. And I want to ask, what does Justin Trudeau mean when he says the word hate speech? He means speech he hates. So, for example, let's go through some of the things he said is hate speech. Jerry Butts, the PMO puppet master, said that it was hate speech to criticize Trudeau for using the ridiculous term people kind. Right? Justin Trudeau said anyone who criticized him during the pandemic was engaging in hate speech. Basically, anybody who disagrees with his radical agenda when it comes to kids, he says is hate speech. He attacked Muslim parents who were protesting against his agenda. Is he going to criminalize those Muslim parents for protecting their children in schools? Go down the list of things that Justin Trudeau disapproves of, and you can imagine all of the things that will be criminalized. And then there becomes the question of who is going to be in charge of determining what is hate speech. Recently, a school board in Ontario banned Anne Frank's books. Okay? So would that be considered hate speech under Justin Trudeau's woke authoritarian agenda? I think it would. So anyone who thinks that speech they don't like is going to be criminalized and therefore the bill should be supported, go through that. Those people should go through the list of their own thoughts that Justin Trudeau considers to be unacceptable views, and you can assume that he will ban all of that as well. And finally, I point out the irony that someone who spent the first half of his adult life as a practicing racist, who dressed up in hideous racist costumes so many times he says he can't remember them all, should then be the arbiter on what constitutes hate. Why doesn't he? What he should actually do is look into his own heart and ask himself why he was such a hateful racist. For despite his enormous personal privileges of a multi-million-dollar trust fund, being the son of a prime minister, growing up in mansions, traveling the world, why he had so much hate in his heart that he was such an awful racist. And what he should do is actually explain where that ugliness came from, and maybe in that way, rather than through coercion, he could help us all in the fight against real hate.
Destroyed him. Wow. Okay. Pierre Poilievre absolutely bodied Justin Trudeau again. But the L's for Trudeau didn't end just there, because we're going to take it back to the Justin Trudeau press conference, and a reporter asked Justin Trudeau about Pierre's comments on him being a practicing racist for the first half of his life and a woke authoritarian. And here's what Justin Trudeau had to say.
Conservative leader says your bill on hate is about banning speech you hate. And he also called you someone with a woke authoritarian agenda who spent the first half of his adult life as a practicing racist. What's your response to that?
My response to the substantive part of that question is
Hats off to that journalist. What an amazing question. But part of me believes that this guy will probably never be allowed into another Trudeau press conference again. But it was totally worth it. And later that day, Trudeau went on a Liberal podcast to complain about YouTube channels like mine or social media accounts like Cat Canada, saying that we are deliberately trying to undermine the mainstream media. Watch. Don't worry, it's only 30 seconds, but watch this.
There is out there a deliberate undermining of mainstream media. There are the conspiracy theorists, there are the social media drivers who are trying to do everything they can to keep people in their little filter bubbles, to prevent people from actually agreeing on a common set of facts, the way, the CBC and CTV, when they were our only sources of news, used to project across the country at least a common understanding of things.
A common set of facts. Sounds to me like Justin Trudeau is butthurt that he spent billions of dollars on buying off the mainstream media, and they're not even effective at getting a message out anymore because accounts like mine, Cat Canada, we are out there and we are countering the narratives, and Trudeau is freaking out. The hundreds of millions of dollars he spent to buy off the media is absolutely worthless. You love to see it. All right, guys, that's going to be a wrap here for today's report. Let me know in the comments what you thought of those Trudeau clips and Pierre Poilievre absolutely demolishing Trudeau again. I mean, did you guys enjoy that as much as I did? If you guys want to see Trudeau cry some more, like this video so more people see it. Share it with your friends. That pisses off Trudeau too. Or tell your friends about the Pleb on YouTube. And if you guys want to support me even more, you could buy a membership to this channel for $5 Canadian and you get a cool little logo beside your name. My name is the Pleb. This was your Thursday report, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace.